Hi y'all. So a moment. I'm going to show you several demos. The first demo, so part one, I'm referencing John Singer Sargent's watercolor called, sorry, one moment. It is, why can't, sorry, one moment. Trying to find my notes. It's called the Bendouin, Bendouin camp. And it's at the Brooklyn Museum of Art. So portrait varies. So a portrait could be very minimalistic and then it can span all the way to photorealistic. So it can be representational, it can be naturalistic, it can be realistic. It also, well, before naturalistic, it can be stylized, it could be expressive, and then it could be naturalistic or realistic, and then photorealistic. So that there's quite a range of what a portrait is. So I want to take you all through that. And what I'm starting with, when we look at the slide presentation as a group, and also each of you are going to get a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. I'm taking you from the first step of like a representational portrait that can be described suggestively, and everything starts when drawing and painting and sculpting abstractly. So it's all formally driven. So shape, color, temperature, value. And as we're looking at the work and we're dissecting these paintings, and then we transition into working from our own reference photography or from life, it's up to you. And also copying master copies, it will all start to make sense. So I'm going to start with a line drawing. So I'm starting with a linear placement. So another name for linear placement is a line drawing. And I'm just choosing one of these people, trying to see which one I want to copy. I want to copy the person in the foreground. So I start at the very end of his headwear, what he's wearing. And I'm looking at the shape. So I'm drawing the outline of this shape that I can see. And I'm just isolating this one person. I'm not drawing the entire master copy. Now, when you guys make a master copy, when you're copying a master copy, you'll do that. But for showing you how I start with the linear placement, I start at one point and I look and I compare. And I'm looking at, so I made this outline. Let's see if you can see that any closer. Or maybe I can bring this down a little bit. Right now it just looks like a shape. Well, it is a shape, but it's not really descriptive, so you can't make out quite what it is yet. So let's see if you make sure you can see that. Okay, yeah, that's more clarity. Okay, so let me put my tape. That's another thing, depending on your support. See, I have this little small surface of cold pressed watercolor paper. They're 5 inches by 7 inches. That you can get at Dick Blick or Artisan Craftsman. So I'm starting with my line drawing. I'm also using my Black Wing matte pencil. So this is soft lead and it's also really sharpened. You want to make sure you have a sharpened tool. So you see that shape that I'm starting with. And so I go this way. Now John Singer Sargent, for the most time, started with a loose linear placement. So we started with a line drawing in graphite. So there. Then that shape goes down there. goes like that. Let's see. Still recording, good. That goes like that. And then now there's this shape. And then now his portrait. And so I'm doing also an outline, starting up at the top at his portrait, drawing that outline. And then I'm also comparing like how far back this side of the face goes. Very expressive portrait. Like when you see it, you'll be like, oh. But this is suggestive and loose, and like his painting. When you see it too, when you see it tonight, you'll be like, oh, okay. So now that went like that, and then he has this big scarf. And that shape goes like that. It's a good shape, but I think it could be smaller. And then there's this part of his headwear. That's tucked away. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. And then there's that shape. That shape. I'm just looking at these shapes, and I started working on them. So I started with an outline, right? And I'm drawing, so I'm traveling as I go and looking at the line and the outline and the tangency, so the type of line. So like how it cuts in and how it goes out, how it cuts back in again. Okay, so there is my line drawing. So I'm just going to stop it for a brief moment.